Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 96. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Arledal. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean is Sean_Beatty. Kev is at C2Believe. That's SEA2Believe on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our videos. Tell us what you think in the comments below. We're going to touch on a couple quick news topics. And it is sad to say that some players have left the Seattle Storm, including Breanna Stewart and Stephanie Talbot. We wish them all the best of luck in their next destinations. Breanna Stewart went to the New York Liberty. Stephanie went to the Los Angeles Sparks. So good luck in your respective new teams. The Storm have also signed quite a few players, though. They signed Kia Nurse to play for the Storm. They have signed Seattle native Sammy Whitcomb. They have signed, I'm just going down their Twitter here. I'm going to mess up this name pronouncement. Ezzy McBeggar. And then they've also signed Arella Garantes. Boy, I really need some pronunciations on this Seattle Storm Twitter. And Kalia Charles of the Connecticut Sun. So the roster is shaping up. Sad to see some of the superstars lead the team, but hopefully the Storm will pull together a good season. Also, Sue Bird left as well. So we'll see what this team looks like come April and May, but hopefully the Seattle Storm will be good once again. And hopefully this time I can make it out to the game. I wasn't able to make it out in their first season in Climate Pledge Arena, but we'll see if I can make it out to a game this season. Also, wanted to mention the Seattle Sounders played in Morocco on Saturday. They lost 1-0 to Al Ali FC from Egypt in the FIFA Club World Cup. So they are done. So one and done for the Sounders in the FIFA Club World Cup. But hey, Sounders made it that far. That was the highlight, winning the CONCACAF last year. So it was amazing to get there. Any comments from either of you about the Storm signings and departures? Kevin.
Girantes. Arara Girantes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, it's sad to see two key players go. I mean, with Sue retiring, I kind of assumed that some of them might want to go. Though I'm not gonna say I know their contracts. I imagine it's probably that their contracts are up and they are free agents, and
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna pretend like I know all the Seattle Storm contracts. So yeah, it's a bummer. So we'll see if these new girls, maybe, if they're getting younger, maybe they can build up a core. Probably won't be near what it was. But possibly with the building up, a new core again, we could see something hopefully in 2 to 3 years. But who knows? I mean, Seattle teams seem to feel it's been like a trend lately where you feel like they were going to rebuild and then they do good on the year that they think they're going to rebuild. So maybe the Storm will keep it going, that trend going. So I don't know.
Sean, any thoughts?
I mean, same as Kevin said. It would have probably would have hurt more if we didn't see it coming, but with Breanna Stewart leaving. But they've built some winning teams in the past. The problem is all the winning teams had Sue Bird on it, so without it's going to kind of be the first time to rebuild one without her. So we'll see how that goes. But looking forward to it. The WNBA, along with the New York and Las Vegas, are creating a couple powerhouses there. But no, it should be interesting to see if the Storm can go back to being one of those powerhouses.
Yeah, and bring back the Sonics, but also shout out Sean Kemp. He's going to be in Seattle on Saturday for the ribbon cutting of his new weed store downtown. So go Sean Kemp. But
Nice.
let's move on to the National Football League. We're going to kind of do, I kind of went past, present, and future. The Seahawks are in the past, but we're going to talk some NFL anyway because there's been some stuff that's happening. But first, I'm going to introduce the newest segment. It's called Nothing on the Line. You can check the copyright. I'm pretty sure I'm the first to come up with this. But I am throwing out bets for my co-host here to see what they would do. And I say nothing on the line because we're not betting anything. We're just doing this for fun. So I went to DraftKings Sportsbook, found some Super Bowl bets. Some of them are game related. Some of them are just real weird. So I've got 5 of them here. And then we're going to start. This is a weird one I found on DraftKings Sportsbooks. All these lines are on the DraftKings Sportsbooks. You can't vote and watch it on an app, so it doesn't matter. Combined jersey numbers of all touchdown scorers is the first bet. Sean, I'm going to throw this to you first. Over or under 170.5?
So you combine all the touchdowns scored. So is it the person who physically crosses line if it's a
Yeah,
touchdown
so like
pass?
if Travis Kelce scores, that is 87. Combined jersey numbers. If Patrick Mahomes scores, that's 15.
So no, wait, so in the whole game it's
In
170?
the whole game,
Over.
Jalen Hurts, number 1. Jerick McKinnon, number 1. So defensive touchdown could throw something in the next if you get like a 97 or something. So what do you think? And most of the wide receivers these days are like single digits. I'm pretty sure.
AJ Brown's 11. Now that I think about it, I think under.
It's
So
Kadarius
it's
Toney
touchdown
playing.
scored, no kicks, no
Yeah.
extra points, no nothing,
Correct.
just touchdowns.
Yep.
Touchdown under.
Under.
Yeah, I'm taking the under as well because, like we mentioned, Kadarius Toney is 19. I think all the wide receivers on Kansas City
Tony, I don't even know if Tony's going to play, but yeah.
and the Eagles are under 80, if I'm not mistaken. The Goddard at 88 and Travis Kelce at 87 would be the ones that I think would put it over, or a defensive touchdown somehow, or a lineman touchdown too, which also would be very
Not
rare.
necessarily anymore. They could be any number at this point.
That's true. That's
I
true.
think Watson is like 85 though. Like one of the receivers for Kansas City has an 80 number. I think it's Watson.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a Kansas City wide receiver.
He's like the, well, that's the thing. It could be freaking like it could be anybody. They kind of
they throw it to they just start throwing it to McKinnon now is all they do, and he's number 1.
He's number 1. Isaiah Pacheco's 10. Like all the running backs are low numbers. Yeah, that's an interesting. So we all went under on that one. I'm gonna record these. We'll come revisit once the time's right. All right, this one was a really weird one. So I'm gonna give you the choices, but the line is color of first Gatorade poured on winning head coach.
Yellow.
You've got yellow, green, blue, purple, orange, red/pink, clear/water, or none.
Yellow.
Okay, Sean's got yellow. I'm marking that down. Kevin, what do you got?
I'm gonna see. Oh God. I'm gonna say
Pick
orange.
a color, Kevin. There's no skill to this.
Yeah, I'm gonna say orange.
Yeah, I'm also going with Kevin because orange is the best Gatorade flavor. Don't at me. All right.
Orange is the best Gatorade flavor. Or I have red currently as we speak right here.
I like the ice blue, like the
But I have been watching a lot of Super Bowl videos, and they seem to be yellow because orange was drunk. They drank it because it was good. Yellow's left over. Yellow seems to be a common theme in these dumpings because no one drinks it.
Random case. Good Mythical Morning voted lemon lime to be the best Gatorade flavor.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I don't listen to that podcast.
Exactly.
All right. So Sean's got yellow/green. Kevin and I are going orange.
So I get yellow and green. Like that's
yeah. It's a slash on that one.
Okay.
So this one is game related. KC net offensive yards over under 368.5.
Vegas is really good at this because they've done a lot.
And I am going to take the under on this one.
I will.
I think Mahomes will throw for 300, but I don't see much of a running game for Kansas City. So I think it's going to be about 325, 350.
They never run it. So yeah, I say under.
Yeah, I like Mahomes a lot. I have trouble thinking Mahomes will get to that just because I think they're also going to use the run game a little bit more. And that defense is really good.
The run game's just more for show, though. It's like, here, we can do this. And they
yeah. I mean, though it will be what they show. And
I mean, if it's working, I'm sure it'll be right. And if it's working, then it will definitely be under. The only question is, do they just keep throwing it over and over and over? Which they've gotten in trouble in the past by being too overly passing when teams are like, hey, run it. And the Chiefs just keep throwing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've got under. Sean's got under. Kevin, are you the under as well?
Under. Yeah.
All right, we're all taking the under on that one. All right, last play of game, quarterback kneel. Yes or no? I am going to take.
But wait,
I wonder what the stat. Last play of the game is a quarterback kneel. I'm gonna take no. I'm gonna take no.
Yeah, I'll say no.
I'm gonna say
these are two good. These are two good teams. So barring something fluky happens, it'll be a game till the end.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. And if it is like a thing, I think it would be like a run that goes for like 3 yards and then just gets it. like a run that gets a first
Like,
down.
yeah, the first down to end the clock. Yeah, not a
So
kneel.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
no
Sure.
on that.
All right. More in the game. Total field goals made or total turnovers?
Just field goals or counting PATs?
Just field goals. Just field goals.
Turnovers. I
I
don't know.
the favorite
Because
is field goals, but for some reason I
these teams are analytic. They're super aggressive on fourth down. They're not kicking. And Mahomes is
you know
healthy
what?
now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sean. I think I am gonna go with Sean.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take turnovers.
Reed and Stefanski are super aggressive.
It's about the early on game. Like
I said Stefanski. Sorry, Cleveland's going.
they'll get ballsy in the second half of the first half. I think both teams will have no balls in the first half because it's Super Bowl and you don't want to fuck it up in the first half.
I mean, the Kansas City team's been in this 3 Super Bowls. Like they don't.
If I'm gonna even put like a number on it, I would go like 3 turnovers, 2 field goals. That's what I would probably
I'd
say.
say that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'd say probably
Like an interception for each and a fumble on one side.
I'm gonna take field goals on this. I think it'll be
All right.
probably more 3-2, like 3 field goals.
Well,
2
yeah, it's
turnovers.
probably gonna be close either way, but yeah, I don't.
All right.
I was trying to look up real quick.
And the
How many they
final
kicked
line,
in-
Philadelphia -1.5 versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Who you got this Sunday? I am taking Philadelphia and the points.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I take the points with Philly. Yeah,
I'd take Kansas City. I just said, of course, because Matthews. I would put a ton of money in Matthews taking Philly.
All right, so Kevin and I have the Eagles, and Sean is taking the Chiefs. We're doing football Super Bowl picks for the paper, so I had to put mine in writing today. So I'm going 30-27 Eagles. So, all right. Anybody want to score? Kevin, you got a score?
I'll do the opposite. I'll do 30-27 Kansas City. It's
All right.
They're both really good teams. Like, honestly, it's
Yeah.
a coin flip. I would never actually bet money on this game because either team could win this game pretty easily.
well,
I would
luckily-
never do the points because I think it's a coin flip, like you said. But
Well, I mean, the points is
luckily,
1.5 anyway, so yeah.
I've already seen the script, so it's going to be 37-34.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that tweet too. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be probably, I want to say 30. I think the Chiefs, especially with that defense, I think they'll score, but I think they're just gonna have trouble. I'm gonna say 30-24 Eagles.
all right, and that has been nothing on the line. We'll see how we do after the Super Bowl, but let's talk a little bit of Seahawks football. And somebody got paid, and it was not Geno quite yet. It was Jason Myers. That's right. He got the second largest deal for a kicker in the NFL. It is, let's see, 4 years, or sorry, Pro Bowl. Where this story doesn't. 4-year deal that ties him to Seattle through the 2026 season. Adam Schefter that the contract value is worth $21.1 million, includes incentives to bring that its max value to $22.6 million, according to Adam Schefter. Sean, what do you think of Jason Myers being extended?
It's fine that he's extended. He's paid way too much, and that's what it is. Yep, that's short and sweet. Second highest paid kicker. The only kicker really worth paying that has been proven is Justin Tucker, and
He's
Justin
the highest
Tucker's-
paid kicker.
He's still the highest, and no one else should be paid probably close to what he's paid. But it is what it is. Probably should have let him walk and gone somewhere else.
Kevin?
I mean, it's tough. Yes, did he get paid more than what he should? But we all, as we've said on this podcast before, kicking ain't easy. I mean, do you want to have a Brent Maher that like can't get you a PAT or a field goal in
That
a
was
playoff
really
situation?
weird. But yeah.
But
Like-
he was good all year.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Myers. It's if you get Justin Myers, you
Kevin Mayer is making, let's see here. Maher is making less than $1 million, so 6 times less. So yeah, I'll do that deal in a heartbeat.
I mean, if that deal costs you a playoff big game because he can't get you PATs,
Justin Myers isn't going to win you a playoff game.
No, I know, I
Like,
know that. I'm saying
like,
you're,
I
you're
mean,
paying for the guarantee of when you need a field goal or when you need a PAT to get it, it's there versus the
no,
question.
it's not. Myers was better than uh Myers wasn't as good as Maher was this year. Like just because like Maher had like God, these guys' names are so freaking close. Like they have picked we have picked different names. Like, well, you're not paying for a guarantee. There's no guarantee. The Tucker is the guarantee. That's it. That's the problem.
I mean, he had the highest non-miss rate for a while there in the
I
NFL.
don't care about the non-miss rate. If you're kicking 30-yard field goals, who cares? Like,
But
you
yeah,
need
I
to
mean,
kick
but
but
his
I also
numbers
don't
are
want you to miss those 30-yard field goals. Like,
yeah.
Exactly. But
And
like,
look how many field goal kickers are missing those 30-yard field goals. A lot. Like we've talked about this, like to beat a dead horse over and over again, like that kickers in the NFL are getting worse and worse to where you need to find that kicker. Now, did they overpay him? Yes.
no, you
Should
don't
they
need
pay
to
him?
find the kicker. You need to go for it. Is what you need to do. You don't need to be kicking field goals.
situation pending, but
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
But you kick too many field goals as it
Right.
is.
But I
But
mean, you need a field goal kicker though. Is
Yes,
the
but
thing.
by admitting you kick too many field goals, it devalues the kicking position. You need to be paying
It's
them less, not more.
yeah. But like there's just certain situations where you're going to need that depending on what defense you're going against. Like yeah, I mean, yes,
Yeah.
the imaginary wonderful world of going for it on every fourth down would be wonderful.
Well, that's not what anyone's saying.
But I'm saying though, if you're beyond the 50 and you get to the 44 and then you're like 4th and 5, and you can make like a 50-year, okay, not the 40, but if we get to like the 37 or something like that and it's a long field goal and like it's 4th and 5, I'd rather be able to make that field goal to get points versus doing the Pete Carroll punt situation where you punt when you're on their 37 and then you get no points out of it.
Hold on.
When you have that guarantee of getting points.
Let me see here.
And in week 18, he missed that field goal to close out, and then he was able to redeem himself later. But
Kevin, the exact situation you said, he was a 66% field goal kicker this year. He missed 1 out of 3. I'm just saying, like, it's not guaranteed. Like, if you told me he's 100%, then maybe
he missed like 2 field goals all year. Like
he was 34 of 37.
yeah, he missed 3 all year. But
Yeah,
that's not 67%.
No, he was 4 of 6 from that exact range. Yeah, that's exactly what he was. He missed 2 of those from there.
So I mean
But
that's
that's what I'm saying.
He's higher echelon of what if you go to look at other field goal kickers, we can
Maher missed 3 all year. Like I'm just saying, like
and
he
then
cost 6 times less.
but then he also costs you almost a thing and
It didn't cost him anything. Like,
but I know I'm saying that situation can occur. And then when you go into a game when you're going into a super important playoff game where you don't know if you can rely on your kicker to get you that PAT, versus having to go for it, extra 2 points every time when you can just rely on a PAT. That's another critical situation as well.
it's all context though. Like Kevin, if the game is called correctly in the Rams game, Myers costs us the playoffs because he missed the field goal.
Yeah. But I mean,
like I'm just saying, like it just because something else happened. Myers
Geno
didn't
not playing
that.
for a whole half kind of would have cost us.
Yeah, but still, Myers missed. Like now you said, Myers missed a field goal he should have made.
Well, let me say, I am with Kevin on this. I want a kicker who, for the most part, when you put him out there, he's going to kick the field goal through the uprights.
Yeah.
Like when a kicker comes out to kick, it is generally either a kickoff or he's going to be directly correlated to points. I don't want a Sebastian Janikowski situation where we have to force Michael Dixon into a kicker role. So this secures that position. Now, is he paid more than maybe he should be?
Yes.
Sure, yeah. But
yes, I get wanting a good kicker, but at the cost of costing you somebody else, it's probably not worth it.
But here's the thing, though: every position in the NFL is overpaid. So you're going no matter.
Well, no, but in theory, that can't be possible. Some are underpaid, some are overpaid.
I'm saying that get long contracts. I know there's the minimal guarantee and stuff like that, but for the new contracts that when you sign for a long-term deals, the majority of them are overpaid. But
probably, I mean, Yeah.
This is what happens, and they value field goal, and
That's well, a lot of that is skill positions that people view that as, because a lot of people think in terms of skill positions. So the skill positions usually age pretty poorly, like wide receivers and
now
running backs.
could we go find a good kicker? It's a possibility, but it's just like a quarterback. Like when you know you have one that's solid enough, like why
They're
why
not like a
And Kevin, what a segue into our next topic,
damn it.
talking about Geno Smith, who
Matt Gay had
recent
a higher field goal percentage, and he's a free agent this last year. I'm just saying.
story on February 3rd.
What was his total on the year?
I don't know. He kicked 30 field goals.
Sean, not all field goals are the same.
Yeah, and
Myers
percentage
kicked-
percentages are going to be determined by how many, like what's the distance.
Myers kicked 34. Like I'm
But,
just saying.
but
like,
here's the thing: like, how many of those were like 20-yard field goals? Like, if we're going to get
he
into
kicked
nitty-gritty.
more attempts. He made more 50-yarders than Myers did.
But that's because we weren't put in those situations, though.
He kicked more. He kicked the same number as 40 to 49 yarders as Myers did. He kicked longer field goals.
Okay, but we weren't put into those situations. Myers has made it from 56. Like,
but I don't care that long. I'm just saying, like, you could just sign him.
Unfortunately, we're just not put into those because Pete Carroll has 0 testicles and wants to punt it when we're on our opponent's 40-yard line.
Well, that's a different conversation. But yeah,
that's the dumb part that goes into it. It's like when you pay your kicker that, now there shouldn't be any punting from your opponent's 40-yard line. That's when you should be going either go for it, or you put Jason Myers out there because you paid him to do it.
He's not. He's going to Blair Walsham, and then he's not going to Blair Walsham. He's not going to put him in 60. He's not going to. Who's the kicker in Denver? Who got run out there to kick? Yeah, ran out there to kick a 64-yarder in the rain, because he did that all the time with Walsh, but never does it with Myers.
Well, no, I'm not expecting him to kick 60-yarders, but if it's 50, he
asked 50, Blair or Walsh to do it over and over and over, and then he's like, "Well, this isn't working," and I'm like, "Yeah, no shit." Like,
but I mean, now you know what his range is, which is pretty much 54.
You should always know the range.
Yeah,
like,
it's Pete Carroll, though. I mean, we're not going to go into that.
Guys, you ruined my segue.
Sorry.
My segue.
Go ahead with Geno.
I had wrapped up the topic perfectly, and you ruined the segue. But anyway, Geno told Sirius XM Radio on Friday that contract talks with the Seahawks are, quote, looking very good. So with that in mind, there has been a lot of discourse on whatever Seahawks site you go on about what Geno should be paid, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to ask us all on the record right now, what kind of contract do you want to give Geno? I will start. I think it is very reasonable to offer Geno a 2-year, $50 million contract, guaranteed, with incentives to get to $60 million.
All guaranteed?
No. 2 years, 50 guaranteed, with incentives to get to 60. I think that is very reasonable. He was paid $7 million this year. And I don't like going more than the $20 million personally, but to meet in the middle of market value, I think $25 million is reasonable for 2 years. Now, the other route I would go, if he doesn't want that, franchise tag him, draft a quarterback with whatever pick you want.
Franchise tag him, pay him more than you suggested?
Well, the thing is, though, you're not tied to him for more than a year. That's why I would use the tag, because you have him for a year. If it doesn't work out this time, you don't have him long term.
The give and take with the tag is it's all up front, so that you eat all that cap it with the
again, I'm not a fan of it, but
move it.
I think Geno has earned the starting job on this roster if he's willing to accept it for that. I mean, well, if he gets franchise tag, he's going to accept it. But like, I don't think, me personally, I would not go more than 25 a year, but I also want the insurance of a quarterback on the roster who is not an unknown. Like, Geno has proved himself this year, but do I think he's
year? But
yeah, for this year. But do I think he is worth what I saw on Pro Football Focus that I sent you, 115 million guaranteed? Absolutely not. I'm sorry, Geno. Like, I'm sorry. I just don't think that's reasonable.
Don't personally look up all the quarterbacks under 25 million a year, man.
I know, and that's great. But I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. Me personally, Sean, what would you do?
I was right a long time ago, and you've argued with me on Twitter for a long time. I said that as soon as the season was still going, like I was like, you franchise tag Geno and use your top 5 pick to draft a quarterback. That's the smart, reasonable thing to do because you're not tied up long term, and you draft your quarterback in the future.
Possibly.
It's the best shot you're gonna have. Because let's say you sign a long term deal, like people are like, oh, let's sign for 3 years. Okay, is Geno good for those 3 years? We all hope so, right? We hope he does well. Then that's probably the odds of you getting a franchise quarterback are super low because you're not going to draft high enough to get one, probably. And so then you find yourself you're just kicking the can down the line. So this way, I think it's kind of a win-win. I think you get your Geno, he'll let you win some games, hopefully, if he plays like first half Geno, not like second half Geno, and then you get a chance that you're a top 5 pick that you're probably not going to have if you hope everything pans out like the way you think it's going to.
Fair enough. Kevin, what do you think?
I mean, what I think will happen and then what I want to happen.
That's what we want to happen. I don't. Yeah, we haven't gotten to what we think.
Yeah. I want you to tell me what you want to happen. What would you give Geno to play for the Seahawks this year?
No, you tag that butt. Franchise tag the butt and draft a quarterback. Like, if you're going to give him a option, if you give him a contract, you can give him, because he probably wants something somewhat. No quarterback's probably going to take a 2-year deal. That's just, he wants probably a minimum.
I think it's 3 at least.
3 is going to be the number.
It's going to start at 30 because it's franchise tax.
I was thinking, I would say I would go 3 years, 95 million.
Yep.
And around 60 to 65 guarantee with incentives.
Okay.
Because you could fudge that number. You can move that around for cap space and all that stuff. It's workable.
Because then he's making, because that's reasonable. He's probably, because of his, I mean, we've seen what he's done in the media and he's super excited and stuff like that. And he's betting on himself, which I get he did play well, but what the Seahawks fans are not talking about, what Sean mentioned, is first half Geno versus second half Geno. We need Geno to play for 4 quarters, not for.
Well, I mean, in this season, he was good in the first half and then not good in the second half.
Well, I mean, there was just so many games that we saw where, like, in games he just only played good for a half.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he just disappeared in another half. So I need more consistent Geno, where I need Geno good for 3 quarters plus, roughly. I would like to see him good for 4 quarters, but I mean, there's realistic expectations as well. I mean, all quarterbacks are going to have rough patches. So, I would say, probably about those numbers that I put would be, I believe would be fair to his value.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of Jason Myers being signed to extension, possibility of Geno's contract. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at _Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kev is at SEA2Believe. That's C2Believe. Go ahead and follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. Like our comments. Tell us what you think like our comments. Like our videos. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Let's move on to something that's happening in the present right now. We'll actually resume tomorrow. Is the Seattle Kraken. They are currently sitting in the lead in the Pacific Division. Tie, technically, but we're still technically calling it the lead. So they are currently leading the Pacific Division with 63 points at the All-Star break, along with the Los Angeles Kings. Hot on their heels is the Vegas Golden Knights. And coming out of the break, they have a 5-game road trip in the Eastern time zone. They are at New York Islanders tomorrow. They are at New Jersey on Thursday. They are at the New York Rangers on Friday. At Philly on Sunday, and then they are at Winnipeg to wrap up the road trip. So, Sean, have you been watching some Kraken hockey before the All-Star break? And what have you thought of them since our last podcast?
Yeah, since our last podcast, they're on their win streak. So they're what? 3-4? Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching. Unfortunately, whenever I watch, they don't play well. But so maybe I.
So stop watching. Stop watching.
Yeah, they beat Vancouver, who's a dumpster fire, and Columbus, who's a dumpster fire. So they beat the 2 teams they should. But again, I'm a little worried when they're. I think they're come back down to earth, and if they don't play dumpster fires, they might have a harder time. Their goaltending again. How long can it fake it? Um, Grubauer. It's a revenge game. Grubauer only gave up the one goal against Colorado, so that makes sense. But other than that, it's kind of been a mess. Um, other than against Columbus, but they have nobody. Yeah, again they're playing well, but I'm like that where I watch through my fingers, where I'm like, oh gosh, are the wheels gonna fall off at some point? But at this point, it's pretty fun because I got nothing else to watch when it comes to hockey now. So, yeah, it's been a fun ride. They watching Matty play when he's actually playing Vancouver. Thank you for that one. It's been fun. Yeah, these guys are good, and they need a couple more defensive pieces, but we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, to help out their goaltender as much as they possibly can. They actually just need to trade for goaltender, but that's still, yeah.
Yeah, I've been able to before the All-Star break, I was able to watch the last 3 games, and Vancouver game was, I mean, they were up 6-0 early. Like that was a good game. Calgary was a little bit more difficult. Columbus, like Sean said, they're just not very good, so that's a game you should definitely win.
That's being generous to
Yeah.
Columbus.
So the Beniers injury, that cheap shot, I believe they got a suspension for that guy. I forgot who exactly it was.
It's 2 games, but I mean, Beniers missed more games than that.
Yeah.
Like that's the part I don't like about it. He gets hurt for more games. This is the All-Star game, and then the guy gets less games and was able to play again. So it's just like,
yeah,
it hurt the Kraken more than it hurt Vancouver.
Absolutely. But Beniers was back at practice today, so it looks like he'll be good to go for the Islanders. So he only missed a couple games. So ultimately, I guess the punishment does for the crime with missing 2 games and hurting him for 2 games.
I guess
you want to see it.
Games. Or the rest. He missed the rest of that game.
Yeah.
So
he also missed the All-Star game, which was the only representative for Seattle. But I mean, unless you're really a big fan of the All-Star stuff, I don't think anybody really cares. But we'll see how he kind of comes back from that injury on this road trip, this 5-game road trip. But there's also the question of Chris Driedger coming back from injury. So Sean, I'm going to ask you: do you keep Jones and Grubauer, or do you go to Driedger with one of those spots?
You have to give him a shot. I don't know, honestly, between the two, Jones or Grubauer, who to.
I think you give it. I think you let Grubauer have it because of the contract you signed him to. Like he's in the second year of his 5-year deal.
Yeah, but Jones has been better.
Jones has been better. So I mean, call Coachella Valley and tell him to have a plane ready because we might be flying goaltenders back and forth. Who knows?
You're gonna I don't know how the options work that well with that. Like I don't know how it works with like sending people down. I assume it's yours, but you've got to give somebody a shot. You got to give him a shot. You got to give him a shot to see if he can be better than Jones and Grubauer. And it's more of a sustainable like thing because it's just not. Whenever they have a good game, I'm like, okay, that's not sustainable. And the next game they just fall flat on their face. Like gives up 5 goals to Edmonton right off the bat. Then it's just like Jones goes great against Vancouver and then gets absolutely boat raced against Calgary the next night or 2 nights later.
There's really not a middle ground. It's either they shut him out or 1 goal, or it's like 7.
And that's the problem. You're not going to win anything when it matters. And I feel like you need just roll out the new kid and see if he can give you any sort of consistency. Even if he's not as good as Jones is at his best, he's just not as bad as Jones is at his worst. Just give me 3 goals or 4 goals a game. Don't give me 6, or 5. Give me 3 or 4.
Kevin, have you been watching any Seattle Kraken hockey, and what have you thought?
Yeah, sadly no. Just the usual of keeping up with box score and paying attention to everything, and then sad that Vancouver had to be dirty pieces of crap. But I mean, I'm glad to see that Matty Beniers will probably play tomorrow, if not the next game, but most likely tomorrow. At this point, I mean, I will, once playoffs start and they're there, I will probably do my best to try to watch. If not, at minimum, watch the highlights. Unfortunately, just been busy with other things. So, but I'm still rooting for them. Still rooting.
Absolutely. And let us get into that trade Sean alluded to, and it just happens to be to his beloved San Jose Sharks, as the Kraken added defenseman Jacob Megna from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for a 2023 fourth-round pick. Megna is in the midst of his best season with 12 points in 48 games for the Sharks, while averaging more than 19 minutes per game, according to ESPN. Sean, how good is this move? Or is it good?
For who?
Or is it? Who's it good for?
Nobody. Like, I mean, he's I can't remember his exact age. I think he's like 28.
Let me see. 30-year-old.
30-year-old. Okay. Oh, he just turned he turned 30 in December. Okay. So yeah, so yeah, he's older guy who's basically is his first like season of any note.
So we couldn't get Erik Karlsson, is what you're saying. So this is the next.
Yeah, that's literally what I told somebody when they asked.
Okay.
They're like, "What's the deal?" I'm like, "He's not Erik Karlsson. It's your big mistake. You were not willing to pay the price for Karlsson." Is basically what it came down to. Which they probably, I don't know, like I would have saved it for goaltender. So it's probably the right move by the Kraken. Get a lower, probably your last line defensive guy. He's fine. He's solid. He's not going to cost you a lot. He costs a fourth-round pick. It's not gonna, nothing's gonna bend or break off a fourth-round pick. But with that said, don't expect the world when he comes in. It's a fine.
I'm just curious where he's going to slot in, because it feels like the
he's
defensive.
your last line. He's your last line.
So he'd probably replace Will Borgen, I would imagine, on that third defensive
should
pairing.
not be any higher than that than your third defensive pairing. Like it shouldn't be any higher than that.
All right. Yeah. Well, let us know what you think out there of the Seattle Kraken, how they've done up to the All-Star break, and what you think going to this 5-game road trip. Join and tweet us. I'm at Matt. Sean is at Sean Kev is at SEA to believe. That's C to believe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our videos. Tell us what you think in the comments below of all the topics we talk about. Let's get into what's the future. That's right. The Seattle Mariners. What is it? The Seattle Mariners are beginning spring training at the end of the month, and there has been a little bit of news. Now, I'm not going to say whether it's big news or not, because last time I said that, I got raked over the coals. So,
who did you say was the big news? I don't remember.
I said the AJ Pollock was a big sign. You guys are like, no.
Yeah, no.
So I'm not even going to say that. The Seattle Mariners signed infielder Tommy LaStella to a 1-year deal. So this was from January 19th. The Seattle Mariners signed infielder Tommy LaStella.
Hold on, Kevin. Don't say anything. Do you think it's big news, Matthew?
No, but I saw it on the ESPN feed and wanted to bring it up. Because if it's important enough to write a story about, then it's on the radar of some people.
Well, I mean,
yes.
Don't write an article on anything, but yeah.
So, based on the reaction, this is no deal. Is that fair to say?
No, it's more than no deal.
Okay.
It's not going to be great, but it's a depth thing. The only problem I have is probably affects Kevin's boy, Sam Haggerty. It's like they have 3 kind of utility guys now, but none are really great at anything. So I'm like, I mean, like, what do you do with that? And that's a genuine question. I don't know what you do. What's the end goal there? Because as Matthew will allude to later, they signed Dylan Moore to an extension. It's fine, whatever. You have him and Juan are going to play second. You have 3 outfielders, not even including Sam Haggerty, for left field. Pollock, Kelnick, and Trammell, which they've already stated is going to happen. So where are you playing LaStella and Sam Haggerty? And none of them are good enough to DH. So, I mean, legitimate question to you two. What do you do?
Oh, like nothing. Because
why are we
signed him to a minor league deal?
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it was a minor league deal. Like I was like, wait, why are we asking this question? It was a minor league deal.
It says to a 1-year contract Thursday. It doesn't say anything about minor league.
Yeah, it does not say minor league deal.
I thought I saw a minor league deal on it, but
it does say LaStella signed a 3-year, $18.75 million deal.
Yeah, last time the official Mariners announced it, so I like they don't announce minor league deals. So I thought it was.
Oh, maybe okay. I'm mistaken.
I honestly don't know.
I mean,
they don't have. They could sign him and then just not keep him. That's totally. It's not gonna,
or designate him for assignment.
Even then, he probably just will say no because he's a veteran. But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't hurt you to do that. It's not a lot of money. It doesn't matter. But like, you could always, in theory, do that. Yeah,
well, I mean, it sounds like from Kevin, it's not much of a deal. It sounds like.
But like, it just means it's a crowded like tier of players that are all kind of taking up the same spot, and I don't
I
know.
mean, since 2019, he hasn't really done a whole lot.
No, he hasn't done anything, and that's
I mean, in his first couple of years, like he was solid, like utility dude, but like he hasn't really done anything since like COVID, essentially. His last good season was with the Angels.
I mean, he's 34, but he's it's like Pollock. He's a guy who is probably a major league hitter.
And at this point, too, like if you need a guy that's rotational and you just pay Dylan Moore, who can do that for you, it's like, why? I think he's just like a body for spring training, and then you just dump him. Like,
I unfortunately think it means more for Sam Haggerty than anything.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean,
but I don't get it. I mean, is this franchise gonna fold or freak out over a Tommy LaStella? No, in the grand scheme of things, we're just talking more than anything about the roster construction. Doesn't mean much. Honestly, we're talking about the 25th man on the roster, 25th, 24th guys on the roster. So doesn't mean a ton, but as you can tell, Matthew, I think me and Kevin are confused about playing time and what's going to happen. It's like what we're saying is usually you carry one, maybe two, but usually one utility guy, and the Mariners now have three. And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, what? Because again, if one of them did one thing like crazy, like this guy's crazy at this, it'd make more sense. But they're all kind of the same player at this point in their careers, and I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Well, let's segue. And I forgot to mention at the top of the Mariners segment to thank my beautiful girlfriend Lauren, because we're going to the Astros game May 6th. So maybe watch for us on TV. We'll be in the lower bowl area. But that's a transition into Dylan Moore, who signed a 3-year, $8.875 million contract extension on February 1st. That is according to ESPN's Jeff Passan. So this deal, I'm going to ask the same question. Big deal, little deal, no deal? Kevin, what do you think?
I mean, it just kind of, as Sean's probably going to allude to here, it does make sense after you get Tommy LaStella as well. Like, I mean, is the money we're giving him like crazy? No, like I'm okay with it if like that's your guy that you think that it's assigned. But for a guy that's a utility piece, like I don't see Dylan Moore being a top end utility piece. I think you could go get better than Dylan Moore. I mean, he's had some flashes in the past, and he's okay defensively. It's just what you get at bat is not great. I mean, he's got some speed, but at that point, I'd rather go Haggerty because I think Haggerty's faster. On the bases, if you're going to go for a speed guy on the bases, and is just as good defensively, if not better, from what we saw last year before he got hurt. So it just really didn't make sense to me. Kind of like the Tommy LaStella move. It's kind of like Jerry Dipoto was bored and he didn't get to play with his checkbook in the off season because of the ownership just saying no, you can't get anybody. So he's like, well, I'm gonna sign Dylan Moore for 3 years, and yeah, so I did some stuff, Yeah, it's just odd to be frank. So I'll put it at that.
Sean?
I am actually looking it up. I don't know because Dylan Moore, it's not loading. Steals a ton of bases, but I never thought of him as that fast. So I'm trying to load.
Oh, I can get Dylan Moore up here in 1 second.
It's not number of stolen bases; it's how fast you are.
Stolen 65 bases and 92 tries on this story.
Sam Haggerty is faster, but he's clearly the worst bat of the two.
Probably, yeah. I'm talking more like, yeah, shoot. I mean, pitch running, like I would rather have Haggerty on base. But if you're putting somebody up at bat, then yeah, probably Dylan.
Yeah, it's clearly Dylan Moore. And then if you're pinch running Sam Haggerty, but the issue is Dylan Moore is a solid defender. The problem is I don't think Dylan Moore is a great outfield defender. But again, you have we're not playing these guys out in outfield because this is Kelnick's last year. You brought in Pollock. You're going to run Trammell out there. There's no spot for a fourth outfielder. The other two are set, and then you're going to run one of three guys out there because you're giving Pollux against lefties, and the other two, you're seeing who you got because it's kind of the last year for both of them.
Yep.
So I don't, as much as Sam Haggerty's a righty, or I guess he's a switch, but like I don't need Sam Haggerty up there taking left-handed bats when I have Kelnick and Trammell. I need to see who they are because it's kind of like, do we make or break with these guys? Where is our future with these guys? So they need to be getting those outfield at bats, and it's just like, I mean, I guess it's good if like JP Crawford gets hurt. Like, I'm okay if Sam Haggerty or Tommy La Stella. No, I probably don't want Tommy La Stella. Tommy La Stella does play third, so I guess he's like we've got three guys to back up every single person in the team, I guess, at this point. But like, I would have loved like rather than that, like a Josh Bell, rather than any of them, just give me Josh Bell and he could DH. Like that's what I would have traded all three for a Josh Bell, but it's fine. We'll see how it works out. Again, like we're arguing about the bottom three guys on the roster, and again, Dylan Moore's making less than $3 million a year in a league with no cap. Like, I mean, like who cares? Like,
yeah.
If you're not paying him like 10, like I'd be like, okay, maybe that's probably not the best allocation of resources if you give Dylan Moore $10 million, but you're giving him like 2.8 a year. Who cares? Like,
All right, and let us move on to the final bit of news for the Mariners. There are some concerns about Mariners playing in the World Baseball Classic. Julio Rodriguez, Teoscar Hernandez, and Diego Castillo are playing for the Dominican Republic. Eugenio Suarez is playing for Venezuela. Matt Festa is playing with Italy. Matt Brash is playing with Canada. And Harry Ford is playing with Great Britain. Luis Castillo opted out, and the Mariners are supposedly worried about this because of Drew Smyly going down for Tommy John surgery in the 2017 World Baseball Classic. So, Sean, are you concerned with Mariners players playing in the World Baseball Classic?
Mariners hitters, no. Mariners pitchers, yes. I still have PTSD from Drew Smyly. Looking awesome in the World Baseball Classic, by the way. And he's perfect. He's a fly ball pitcher, safe go, has good stuff. Never pitched for the Mariners. Like, yeah, I have PTSD. We just traded for Luis Castillo, give some prospects, sign him to a deal. Please don't pitch. And I'm glad
he's not pitching.
Yeah, I'm glad him and the Mariners came to a mutual decision, as in like, we gave you $100 million. You're not pitching. I'm so sorry. And he's probably like, you're right. I have $100 million in my bank account.
Like Matt Festa, I'm not as worried about. Brash, Brash is what I'm worried about. Like, I don't want Brash to get hurt at all.
Relief pitchers, I'm less, but yes, like just don't overwork Matt Brash.
Just because Matt Brash has that very unique, like,
stuff. Of all the people though, Matt Brash is probably good because he is extended like a starter. So like he's gonna go be a relief pitcher. So if they throw him some innings, it's probably gonna be less than he threw the year before because he's not a starter this year. So he'll probably be fine on him. I still want him to be out there as little as possible. Kevin's right, like. Pitchers, I'm still a little bit worried about, but I don't care about the.
Well, how good is Canada? That's the real question. Are they going to go far? Like, what are we talking here? Like, I assume Dominican Republic is the favorite, along with maybe Team USA, maybe.
Yeah, USA is really close.
Dominican Republic is just Dominican Republic's roster is what the MLB would want for an all-star.
Yeah, they got their best, and America threw out their D- team, and they're barely above them. Yeah.
Like I can't. GT showed me the roster at Boeing, and I nearly like pooped myself because I was like, "That is filthy."
Yeah, but again, like to clarify, America would absolutely poop on everybody if they played their best. But yeah, like it's Dominican is the favorite, but America is close behind. It's baseball. It's the ultimate crapshoot. I mean, if a pitcher gets hot, it's just they're gonna win. Like this is what it is.
Kevin, are you as worried as Sean?
I have the roster real quick.
Okay, go
ahead. Potential 2023 World Baseball Club for Dominican Republic starting lineup. At 1 is Starling Marte. 2 is Juan Soto. 3 is Manny Machado. 4 is Vlad Guerrero Jr. 5 is Rafael Devers. 6 is Jose Ramirez. 7 is Jeremy Pena. 8 is Gary Sanchez. That's like the only question mark because Gary Sanchez is just falling off the
And
wheels.
Pena can't hit anything.
And then hitting 9th is Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid. And then starting pitcher with Marlins guy.
Alcantara, the Cy Young guy.
Yeah. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean, it's nice, but like again, remember America would roll out Trout, Harper, and Judge in their outfield. America would steamroll everybody if they played their best, but they're not. They don't. I'm
Kevin,
glad
are you
they
as
don't because I
concerned?
want it to be an international thing. You know, like
just about Brash mainly. Hitting wise, not nearly as much. And then like if you're out there fielding like Julio, don't go for crazy crap. I don't want to see you diving for, some crazy ball and then you like roll your ankle or like bruise your knee or something like that. Like just
that seems like a hard ask because didn't Julio play in the Olympics? Like I don't feel like you're gonna have a guy play for their country and not go all out to try and win.
I mean, that's true. Yeah, it's just like please just don't do any crazy dives out in center field.
I mean, yeah, they're going to though, but yeah.
But Brash, like I said, would be the main concern. Or had Castillo not opted, I would be super concerned if Castillo is doing it. Super concerned, but thank God he's not. So, like, Mariners shut that crap down.
Now, let me ask you guys this: would you say the World Baseball Classic is essentially a more intense spring training? Is that fair to say?
No, they take it seriously.
They take it super seriously.
Yeah, it's closer to the Olympics, definitely. If not, I would honestly say they might even take it more seriously than the Olympics.
Especially the Dominicans.
So when they play spring training, you're not concerned about injuries, frankly. It's the World Baseball Classic you're concerned about injuries.
Yeah, I mean, because spring training, they're working on stuff like when bad pitchers get blown up in in spring training, it's usually because they're working on pitches. They're like, look, these are, it's different than you can never simulate even sort of a game. And still, spring training is not quite a game, but it's, it's closer than it. Like the common thing was like when
it's just to play somebody else other than yourselves.
In his prime, and he's working on his changeup. He's throwing to like Ichiro. Yeah. Ichiro's never gonna be like, I'm gonna talk myself into this as a major league at bat because I know they're my teammate. Versus spring training, it's still not the most important thing, but that minor league kid is trying his hardest because it's his job on the line. And you're never going to get that from another Mariners player or, something like that. Where Felix is like, I'm just throwing changeups or I'm doing this or I'm doing this. I'm focused on this pitch. I don't care the results. I'm just working on this pitch in a realistic environment. And that's kind of what they do.
For example, Matt, like Munoz, who's our potential closer, like in spring training, he's probably going to be working on his slider or he's not going to be like, though, if he's playing for his country, he's probably going to be throwing his 102, 103 heater, like as many, like that's where the more concern is. Like, he's working on pitches that are not going to wreck that arm nearly as much.
Okay. Well, we will see how the 7 Mariners players fare in the World Baseball Classic. Is that on anything?
Do you know why Ford is playing for Great Britain?
Because his name's Harry Ford, and that's the most British name I've ever heard.
His parents are both British.
Yeah, I was about to say his parents are both British. Yeah,
both. Yeah.
That sounds like a British name, absolutely.
Well, so. I mean, like school, high school, and I
mean, let's be real. It's going to be Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Canada, and USA in the semis. I think. Am I missing one? Maybe
Japan always is a question mark. They always run out those guys. They won.
Oh yeah, Japan. True, that's true. Yeah, I can't doubt Japan. I'm sorry.
There's a couple teams that don't really have a shot, but you get a hot pitcher that they don't know of and gets hot, it's over. It doesn't. They can shut down Dominican. It doesn't matter. Like it's just that's how things work. Like in baseball, like it happens, man. Pitcher gets hot. It's all it really takes.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Mariners playing the World Baseball Classic. Dylan Moore's contract extension. Go ahead to us. I'm at Beta Matt. Sean is at Sean Scobetti. Kev is at SEA to Believe. That's C to Believe. Leave a comment on our videos on YouTube. Tell us what you think. Like our video. Subscribe. I'm going to go out once again by letting everybody know, yes, the XFL is back. That's right. The Rock is cooking, and he's cooking up some football. So, the Seattle Sea Dragons are playing the DC Defenders Sunday, February 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. If you're not already footballed out by that point, I mean, the Super Bowl will be over. It's really kind of up to you at that point. But I'm curious, guys. are you interested in paying this much for a Seattle Sea Dragons game? I had to look this up on Ticketmaster earlier today, and I gotta say, I went to a Seattle Sea Dragons game in 2020 before it all shut down, and I think a ticket was only about $25 if I'm not mistaken. So
You can find, you look off to the right. You can find row 100.
you can
section
find some
100.
cheap tickets right here,
18,
but
yeah.
it's clearly for the view. So I mean, are you fine with these $18 kind of side
There's
Yeah.
section 100 row G.
section 100 row G?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Section 145, 146. You can find some tickets that
That's
are
not
not too
bad.
far away.
That's not
For
bad.
$25, you can look off to the right over there. There's some
Okay.
tickets that are fine.
Well, I mean, I'm curious, what's the maximum price you'd pay to see the Sea Dragons right now? Are you 30,
$20.
40, 20 bucks?
bucks.
Okay, that's fair. So, Kevin, are you about the same
Mhm.
there?
Yeah, I would say probably 30 would be the max.
Okay, so you're not
Um,
forking out for these. Let's see.
No.
So let me move the map here. Why can't I?
While,
Oh, here
while
we
you're
go.
looking for that,
3150 4-pack offer, section 104 row K. It's not too bad if you get the 4-pack offer, I guess. What are these resale ones down here, though? I wonder how much you are for field seats. $75. I
Yeah,
don't know if
scroll.
I,
See when you get closer. And again, isn't this like the first game?
this is the first game. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it'll get cut in half.
I don't know if I want to pay $75 to watch Ben DiNucci throw to Josh Gordon, although that did sound like an interesting combination when you kind of say it out loud. But yeah, so if you want to catch some Seattle Sea Dragons football, they are back in action on February 19th, and then they are at home for their first game on Thursday night, XFL football, the 23rd, 9 p.m. Eastern versus the St. Louis Battlehawks. So with that, anything else you guys want to add?
You forgot the most important Seattle Mariners news that happened.
What happened?
Goldie is back.
You guys want to talk about that real quick?
I think Kevin just said it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Aaron, I
Aaron
found
Goldschmidt
it
came
very
back.
surprised that he was offered the lead thing for the Cardinals.
He pulled his name out and chose to stay.
And the fact that he was like, I hated that I had to be at the Phillies Mets game when Cal Raleigh had the walk off and he couldn't call it. He said it like he was super depressed about it. And I was just like, that's awesome. Like, because Aaron Goldschmidt is, and I mean, I know a lot of people shouldn't be like harping on Dave Sims. Like Dave Sims is not bad. Like, I mean, I feel like Aaron Goldschmidt's better, but like people are like telling Dave Sims to just retire now. I was like, Aaron Goldschmidt can just stay there. Like Dave Sims is gonna eventually retire. Like he's old. Like, and Aaron Goldschmidt's like what, 30, early 30s, early mid 30s. So like he can stay there and just retire as a Mariners main announcer after Dave Sims,
Now
retires.
we're talking Root Sports Radio, like.
Yeah, they need to lock him up. Whatever they need to do, the Mariners need to sign him.
Does he
They
do
need to lock him.
which announcing does he do? Is he radio or?
They
He
do
did
both.
both.
Like
Oh,
both.
they do.
Like
They
in
rotate.
Dave's career, they switch. Like kind of
Okay.
that
Yeah.
situation where I don't know the rotation in which they switch.
It's like him, Dave, and Rick like just do like a weird rotation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think eventually it will be Aaron Goldschmidt will be the main one, which is fine because Aaron Goldschmidt is phenomenal at what he does. His high pitch just voice losing when stuff happens is like amazing. So I was super happy to see that he wants to stay here. So
Well, I mean, we've had some good announcers in Seattle, so Dave Niehaus, certainly a legend. So when you want to follow in those footsteps, I think that's a pretty good thing. So, Sean, anything else to add? Anything else to add there? All right. Well, with that, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports. Bring back our Sonics.